This is my reflective practitioner video, reflection number 2 for EDAD 610. So my own experiences in a student-centered learning environment. I went to school overseas, so I actually went to school in England, and then elementary school was basically a Catholic school until 2nd grade, and then I went on an Air Force base for 3rd grade, and then we moved to Iran, and I was in the Department of Defense schooling system for grades 4, 5, and 6. And then I went to school, we moved to Mexico City, and I went to school there in grades, my middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then high school was in Ankara, Turkey, and I went to school there basically for high school, and then came back to the States and went to college in basically Napa. Went to the community college and then Sonoma State, and then I have continued my schooling through Chapman and then Bradman. So the aspects that were present in each of the settings, mostly they really weren't student-centered. It was more around teacher-led instruction, but there were relationship building with teachers and peers, and the social supports were there. We did use resources, but it was more along the lines of like encyclopedias and dictionaries and things like that. We did do projects, but there were there wasn't really any opportunities to share out. We did do a lot of though student-centered with the extracurricular activities, or basically the art classes that I took or the photography that I took. Most projects that were done in my academic classes were just turned in and graded. Not a lot of sharing out. The environments were safe, clean, and they were inviting. And just at times, the academic work was rigorous. The aspects that were missing were the student-centered learning. Basically, I was told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and then we'd work a little bit on it independently, and then we would have to grade it or correct it together, and that's the outcome that we were to have. There was no real problem solving or trying to figure things out with others. No real discussions taking place. I don't ever remember setting any goals. Just one that I was going to graduate. And then there were no real high expectations. Basically had to learn what the teacher taught us to learn, follow the curriculum, and no real enrichment. So that was my own experience of student-centered learning environment. Wasn't much, but that's what I had. The aspects that I think would have been most helpful to me, had they been part of my K2 learning, would have been connecting me to the curriculum and building up on my prior knowledge. I think that even more student-centered learning would have been extremely helpful, and to work with groups of people, with other learners, and given them more opportunities to take that learning, to take it, to extend on it, to take it not just in the school environment, but outside. To have choices, I think that would have been extremely helpful. I was just told what to learn and how I was going to learn it. Also, however, during my college years, there was a lot of student work, especially in the teaching credential program, that I found that was extremely helpful. Building relationships with colleagues and students, I found that to be very resourceful, especially in college. When I was growing up, especially in my K-12, did not have internet, especially being overseas. Did not have the chance for us to use it, even to learn about it. It wasn't available. And increasing student choices on what I wanted to learn or my interests. I did have the social supports, but mostly just with the teacher, not amongst volunteers or other staff members. And the academic supports were kind of there. We did have like the library to learn, but we didn't really have like opportunities outside of the classroom to learn. Pretty much at my school, we are working towards all the aspects of a student learning environment. The things that we do a lot of are we do allow for student choice, and relationship building is huge at our school. We do a lot of mentoring. We do a lot of peer mentoring, student against student with student. We do have an environment that is safe, and it is orderly, and it does set high expectations for students. We do have a lot of academic supports and academic press with the content is rigorous, and student and teacher accountability for student learning in the environment. So an example of this, that each grade level does do leveled intervention groups, and each grade level is doing that, and we're switching students and making sure that there is movement. And we do this for ELD and for ELA. Some grade levels, though, have also started it for math, which is nice. One of the things that I think is missing right now is the opportunity to allow for more learning. We're still set on, there's the schedule. This is what we have to teach before testing begins. So trying to, I know for our intervention groups, we're kind of still stuck on that schedule. Like, we have to get this taught before the testing starts, and to making sure that all students have mastered the standard is still, needing time. So that's where that's at. It's like the curriculum that we have now has their own pacing guide, and we have to stick with that. And just in fact, last week, our academic support teacher came by and asked us, well, what chapter are you on in math? So the principal is wanting to make sure that we are sticking with that pacing guide. And it kind of, I don't know, it just kind of bothers me that we're not given more time to make sure that the students are mastering it. We are, though, starting our kindergarten teachers who teach half a day are pulling our kids to make sure that they are mastering certain standards that we haven't been able to work with them with more time. So the kindergarten teachers are being able to pull the students, but then when they're being pulled, they're missing what we're teaching in the classroom already. So basically, our school is doing a lot of student-centered learning activities.